Axe came out. This Axe, they had a commercial, and the women started just like going after the guys and jumping on them because they liked the smell of the Axe. Well, I wasn't real, to be quite honest with you, wasn't real popular with the ladies, so I figured maybe I could try the Axe and maybe it would work. So I sprayed some on myself, and it wasn't working like the TV. It was false advertising. I sprayed it all over myself, but then a lady came by and wouldn't leave me alone. I was trying to be a good seminary student, studying, and she wouldn't stop texting me. And her name was Annie, and I knew she liked me because of the way that I smelled. It was this Axe. You can ask Annie. This stuff really does work. You can ask her. Actually, I'm fabricating this. I was actually the one that pursued Annie first. So it wasn't the Axe. But we'll talk about perfume that actually really worked. Is Mary's perfume that she was putting on Jesus' feet. This was expensive perfume. This was 300 denarii. Denarii, if I pronounce it. I think it's an I. 300. That's a whole year's salary. And when she's going through it, she's putting it on Jesus' feet. And she's putting it on Jesus' feet. She's not missing any part of his foot. She's using his hair. And Judas has to criticize her. Now Judas, as it says in the text, Judas does not want anything to do with the poor. He says, we should use this money to help out the poor. But Judas could care less about the poor. Judas wants to take the money from the purse that's given to the poor and take the top of it off and just steal it. And this is how Judas did it. He would take the purse that would go to the poor and he would steal from it. So you have Mary. She's on her hands and knees, not missing any part of Jesus' foot. And Judas is criticizing her. Let's take it to the poor. And Jesus gets upset and Jesus tells him, leave her alone. She is doing something good. Now Mary is the only one that has a clue what's going on here. She's the only one that knows time and time again that Jesus is going to die. She's the only one. Judas has no clue. None of the disciples know. Lazarus has no clue. Martha has no clue. No one knows except Mary, and she's preparing for him to die. She knows what broke the camel's back, the straw that broke the camel's back in John's Gospel, was when Lazarus was raised from the dead. She knew that Jesus wouldn't be long after that he would be put to death, because he started gaining all that popularity when he rose Lazarus from the dead. He became very popular. He had more people coming after him. He was a threat, a social threat to the Jewish. So they wanted him killed after he raised Lazarus. So here they are having that dinner, and Mary is doing good. And she is on her hands and knees, getting Jesus ready for his death, when none of the disciples have no clue what's going on, that he's going to die 6 days later. But she takes that perfume with her all the way up to the cross and beyond. All the way as they go from Bethany after this dinner into Jerusalem, where they have Palm Sunday, up to Calvary. So this is the next preceding 6 days that'll come. And she takes that perfume, that fine-smelling 300 denarii perfume with her to give Jesus a proper burial. And he's already smelling good. Now we have a little bit of Mary. Mary was doing good. You have those two things on your shoulders, those movies. We have the good and the bad. Well, we have the Mary as the good, she's doing good. And then we have the Judas, the doing the bad. And he's over here, it's like the devil over here, Judas. So we have them on our shoulders. Most of us have both of it. The human tendency is we have both a Judas in us, and a criticizing nature to us, and we also have a Mary, a do-gooding nature to us. But we have to figure out how to balance it. So with Judas, he's always criticizing. We have to stay away from criticizing. I was doing good. I'll be an example. I'll tell you an example of myself being both. I was coaching the Special Olympics. I was helping out with a food pantry. And then I became Judas because I started, the company and the insurance company I was working for, I started to criticize them for all the good things that they were doing. I started being like Judas, criticizing them, saying, oh, they're only doing this to invest in the company, to get the company more money. Or they're only doing this because they want to do it for a tax write-off. By what authority did I have to criticize people that are doing wrong, doing good? Humans have no authority to criticize people when they're doing good. Jesus never gave us the authority to criticize and to judge. When we start criticizing and ridiculing people, that's when we're hitting the line of the dangerous waters of judgment. And Jesus never let any of his disciples, anyone close to him, be able to judge. We have no authority to judge. So we have to be like Mary and do good. But we are going to be at times like Judas and criticize. But how do we keep ourselves from being criticizers and ridiculing people? Well, we keep doing good things. The more good things we do, the more good things that we do, the less time we have to criticize, to bring resentment, to bring bitterness towards ourselves, inside of ourselves, towards other people. Because the more time we have, we're doing good, the less time we have to worry about criticism. Because we're going to be the ones, that the people that are doing good, we're going to be the ones that are going to be criticized. They will criticize you if you're doing good. They will call you a do-gooder. They will call you a brown noser. They won't like the tie you're wearing. They won't like the way you part your hair. They don't like the heels are too high. They're too provocative. When you're doing good, they will find everything about you and criticize you. She got that job because why didn't she get that job? She knows somebody. Or he got that job, so he's criticizing. They're always going to criticize. So we have to make sure that we are doing good like Mary. And we do good. Keep doing good. Try not to criticize. So Mary took that perfume all the way down with Jesus. She followed him as a great disciple. And Jesus went, died on that cross, smelling good because of his feet. But she was going to give him the proper burial and do the rest of his body. But when Jesus was captured, no one could get around him. If anybody who even associated with him, they were going to persecute him. So she couldn't give him that proper burial. But he went and died on that cross, smelling good. And she was preparing to come back the day of Easter to give him the proper burial and do his whole body. But he wasn't there. His feet were smelling so good, he left this earth smelling good. And when we leave this earth, we want to leave here, and we die, when we prepare to die, we want to leave here smelling spiritually good. When I talk about smelling good, I don't mean smelling good with this axe, that Annie loves. Yes, there is axe for women, just in case you're wondering. But not that. Spiritual smelling good. So Jesus was smelling good. So we want to leave this earth being like Mary. As her hands and her hair, she put that lotion on there. She was smelling good too because she was doing good. And the lotion was 300 denarii, was expensive, and it definitely smelled, had a good fragrance to it. So we have to be like Mary and do good and be less of Judas. So I always was critical of the Yankees. George Steinbrenner, who bought a lot of World Series, and I couldn't stand the fact that he had so much money and would buy World Series. He would get the best players, and he would be like this villain, and everyone thought he was such a villain. But George Steinbrenner wasn't a villain. After he died, these stories started to come out, and he was actually smelling good. He did so much for people that people didn't know what he did. He gave people that were down and out with health care problems, he gave them thousands and thousands of money. People didn't know these stories because George Steinbrenner wouldn't tell them. He said, if I'm going to do this for you, don't tell anybody. And George Steinbrenner said, if you tell more than 2 people, you're not doing it for the right reason. That was his theory. But why didn't he tell anybody? Why did he always play the villain? Why did I despise this guy when he was such a good person at heart? and helping so many people. He probably didn't do it because he didn't want to take the ridicule and the criticism that people give to you when you're doing good. And say, oh, they did it. He's doing it because he needs a new center fielder. He's doing it to sell stadium seats. He's doing it because he's an egomaniac. He's doing it just because he has money. He probably didn't want to hear the criticism. But George Steinbrenner was doing good. And when he died, these stories came out. He gave a 11-year-old woman in 1977, a girl. She was 11 years old. Her brain was, she didn't have a brain. She had to wear a hockey helmet, and she couldn't afford the surgery. He gave her $13,000 in 1977 so they could make some kind of brain to protect her brain. And there was an article on her how lucky she was because she couldn't have got the surgery if it wasn't for George Steinbrenner. So he was doing good. So we have to do good like George Steinbrenner was doing good. And be like Mary. Because George Steinbrenner, when he died, people thought he was the villain. But when he died, he was actually smelling spiritually good. We have to die, prepared to die, smelling spiritually good. So we have a choice. Are we going to criticize and be like Judas and criticize everything anybody does? When they do good, criticize, I don't like how they're doing this, I don't like how they're doing that. We have the choice. Are we going to do that? Or are we going to be like Mary and be the do-gooders and keep working? But I tell you, when you're doing the do-gooders, that's what we want to do. People are going to criticize you, and they're going to bring their stench, and they're going to bring their filth, and they're going to try to keep you and prevent you from doing good. Do not let it get to you. You have to get out the axe and start spraying yourself. Keep yourself smelling good because of the fact that people will criticize you. And they will want to bring you down and stop doing good. That's the Judas side of human nature. So we have a choice. Are we going to criticize or are we going to be do-gooders? And if we're going to be do-gooders, we've got to be able to spray ourselves up. Make sure we keep smelling good. Keep the fragrance on us. And not let what people say about us affect what we're doing. So friends, I know we're going to be at times where we're going to be like Judas. It's just human nature. But if we can just be more like Mary and keep doing good and don't let the negativity get to us and what people say and keep moving forward and doing good, we are going to leave this earth smelling spiritually good. So get out your axe because the stuff works, yes, Annie, and spray it because the people are going to try to bring their filth around you and keep doing good. And I'm so proud of this church of everything you guys do, of all the good. Amen.